Hello. It's been a while, but here I am. I made a video about 10 days ago um, talking about what's going on over in Afghanistan. I was pretty upset in that video. I decided not to post it because I just don't think it was productive. Um, and I've had some time to think about things since then. And I'm going to uh, lay out my thoughts about what I've thought about in the last couple of weeks and see where that takes me. So I don't really have a roadmap for this video, and I figured I'd lay it all out here and let you guys in the comment section make a decision about whether I'm crazy, whether I'm off base, whether I'm on, whatever. It's a dialogue. It's designed to be a dialogue. So I've run the range of emotions that you might expect as somebody who has been personally interested in the war on terror, personally involved in the war on terror for a majority of the time that we've engaged in the war on terror, um, and has suffered the consequences um, because of the war on terror. And as I was thinking about this, I realized that one, the U.S. military um, is in a sort of identity crisis right now, which is understandable. And the I think one of the large reasons why the U.S. military is an identity crisis is much the same way that a lot of the Vietnam veterans felt in the wake of their war. Um, how could we do so well on the ground and achieve our missions on the ground, and sacrifice so much and like our blood, sweat, and tears for 2 decades at this point is committed to those lands, not just Afghanistan, but Iraq as well. And for it all to just come down out of nowhere. Now, it's not up to me to make a judgment call about the direction that the policymakers decided to go. As a soldier, it's not. As a citizen, it is. And here's the question that I pose. Everybody's in an uproar right now about either, hey, good, we ended the war, which I'm happy about. I'm glad the war's over with. This could not have gone really any other way. It would not have mattered how long we were in Afghanistan. This was always going to be the result. I'm a firm believer in that. We can argue about its execution all you want, of course. Um, Bad decisions were made, clearly. But no matter what was going to happen, it was going to be a shit show. There's not really any way around that. My question, ultimately, though, is while we're looking for somebody to take the blame at a policy level about all of this, what was our role as citizens in these follow-ups? You see, here's the deal. It's not lost on me that a lot of the people who are the most upset, who are, vehemently spouting their frustrations with the current situation and how it all unfolded, are the very same people who called me unpatriotic or traitorous when I came home from my first tour in Iraq and I expressed my concern about what we were doing over there. That's not lost on me. When I was displaying doubts about our ability at a policy level in private conversation, talking about how our methodology, one, armies are not meant to do what we were doing. That's not the purpose of a military. Not externally, it's not, for sure. And 15, 16, 17 years ago, when we were at the height of America, getting still in that vengeful spirit in the wake of 9/11, many of the same people who are now, pointing fingers about, owning the current administration and memeing it or whatever, they're the same people who thought I was unpatriotic, having gone over there multiple times, saying this is not sustainable. That's not lost on me. Furthermore, clearly, a lot of the architects of these wars and the policymakers of these wars share the burden of accountability when it comes to the failures that we had over there. But the American people also share in that. You see, it's not lost on me as well, as a veteran of these wars, that the military almost single-handedly executed and paid for, ultimately, the execution of these wars nonstop for 20 years, with hardly a whimper from the American people. Now, we all understand how corrupt a lot of our institutions have become. This is common parlance talk among people, and it's been that way for generations. The public trust in our political class has never really been that high. The public trust in our journalist class, it's not like they just showed up in 2016 and everybody decided that they weren't going to trust the media. This has been going on for a very long time. And we know this, and we talk about it. And as people, we acknowledge that, oh yeah, it's all messed up. They're all corrupt. The special interests surrounding them corrupt. The lobbyists corrupt. We know this. Now, how can we hold that truth in our mind and simultaneously not connect that to our role in allowing that to occur? How is that possible? Ultimately, they derive their power from our consent. If you think this is a left-right issue, you're blinded by faith, your ideological faith, when it comes to your politics. I was a soldier. Now, I still did my duty and executed the orders that I was given that were legal, moral, and ethical. All right? As a professional and as a soldier, I don't have a choice to pick the wars that I fight in. I have to follow those orders and do it. You send us there. You're supposed to fight for us to make sure that the wars we are going to are just. And if we're not willing to do what's necessary to win, it is also your responsibility to get us the hell out of there. I have seen none of that. None. In 20 years. Now, ask yourself this question if you're feeling a little pissed off about what I just said. Do you want soldiers to start making decisions on the battles they're willing to fight and the ones they're not? Is that what you want? Is that the type of military you want? Do you want a military that is involved in the political process? Or do you want your military to be apolitical and follow the orders of the civilian chain of command, of which you elect into office, and to do our mission with the authority and consent of not just the establishment, of not just the political class, of not just the elites, but the people who put them there in the first place? You signed off on this. And this is what I really want. This is what I've come to, is what we're seeing in the last 2 or 3 weeks is exactly what the American people wanted. This is what you wanted, people, my fellow citizens. You wanted this. Your actions have shown that this is what you wanted. Your failure to become involved and to utilize your rights as citizens, to hold accountable those long before now, to hold them accountable to ensure that there are hearings, to ensure that they are made to account for and justify the decisions that they make, because they're doing it in your name. You understand this. You know this deep down. What we do over there is in your name, and you sign off on it. And whenever they authorize military action, they're doing that in your name. And they authorize military force, they're doing that in your name. They're doing that with your consent. And if you don't push back against that, if you disagree with it, then you're complicit. We're all complicit. Now, I'm more complicit because I go over there and do it. But the question is do you want me to say, no, I'm going to turn my... Do you want your soldiers to make those decisions? Do you want your soldiers to go, I'm going to turn my weapons on who I want to turn my weapons on, not on who you choose for me to turn my weapons on? Because that's ultimately what we do. We turn our weapons on who you decide. Whether, like, not participating is an action. We made this decision. This is a result of us absconding our responsibility as citizens for a long, long, long time. We have. There's no denying that. And now, when we do not hold our elected officials to account, when the cats are gone, the mice will play. They've gotten away with their corruption because we've allowed it. And now the mask is off. They just have run amok with it. And it's almost too late to do anything about it. Because there will be no great hearings about this. There will be no mass resignations. There will be no answers. There will be, cover your backside. There will be obfuscation. There will be a silencing within the ranks. And chances are, American people, you'll forget about it when it's convenient. See, the question I pose to you is by taking responsibility for all of our parts in this catastrophe, it means that we have to look in the mirror and we have to go, is this really what I stand for? Do I really stand for this? Do I stand for nation building? Do I stand for having a military on an endless, aimless mission for generations? Is that what I stand for? Am I happy to pay my taxes to fulfill those ends? To essentially, arm our enemies at this point? To show our allies that we were completely unreliable? Is that what you stand for? Because when you don't act or you don't get involved, that's what you're saying. Those of us who have served in the military and are currently serving the military, we protect you against the enemies of our country. But you protect us also by making sure that our efforts, our rifles, are aimed at the right enemy. That's how that works. I don't have the luxury of picking whom I'm going to go to war with. That's on you. And when you do not hold those that are in power that make the ultimate decisions, actually you make the ultimate decisions, they're only going off of what you allow them to do. When you allow them to do it, then I don't want to hear any outrage about what's going on right now. I don't want to hear it. If there was no outrage, if this is the first time you're popping up in the last 20 years, when people like me have come home and been telling you this for well over a decade at this point. I'm not the only guy. There's tons of us that have been like, dude, this is... It's a cluster. It's a giant cluster. If you knew what your tax dollars were getting spent on, you wouldn't be so happy about it. I've been saying this for a long time, and I've been trying to talk to people about it in the best way that I know how. And I know I'm not the only one. Well, if you've been okay with saying nothing up to this point, then it's a little bit hypocritical to be pissed off now, because this is what this looks like. What you're seeing right now is the result of absconding our responsibilities as a country. So I ask you to ask yourself, what do you want from your military? What do you want from our foreign policy? What do you want from our elected representatives? And if you're not getting what you want from them, then you need to get off your ass. You need to get out there. You need to get involved in your community. You need to go to your school board meetings. You need to go to your city council meetings. You need to be writing your representatives and letting them know exactly what it is that you expect from them, because they serve you, not the other way around. If you are not doing that, then you are enabling, it's almost like enabling an addict. The people who, the current establishment political class are like addicts, but addicts to power. And when you do nothing, you're enabling them to get even deeper into their addiction. We need an intervention in this country. You don't have to pick up a rifle. You just need to get involved. You need to voice your opinion. It's okay. And so what if people don't like it? You're allowed to have an opinion. That's what this country was founded on. You're allowed to say, you know what? I don't want my kids to be taught this, that, or the other. You're allowed to say that. You're allowed to say, you know what? I don't want to participate in that. I don't think we should be participating in that as a country. Hey, I'm allowed to build consensus on something. I'm allowed to speak out when there's something I see that I disagree with. You're allowed to do that. And yeah, there's going to be some jerks that want to try and shout you down. And if that's all it takes for you to back down from your convictions, then you don't have them. Collectively as a society, we need to figure out where the hell our priorities are. Because if we don't, we're not going to say, this country is hurting right now. We need to stop finding ways to blame others and start taking accountability of ourselves and our role and how we want this country to go. So that's essentially the summation of my thoughts on what's been going on lately. I think we're very much at a crossroads in this country. And we can either be pulled down a road we don't want to go through our silence, or we can say, no, enough. I'm going to do what I can to make sure that my children and my grandchildren and my community's children and my community's grandchildren have the same opportunities that I was afforded, and to keep this idea of freedom alive. People that are elected in office don't just get to do what they want. They owe us an answer, but they're not going to give it to us if we don't demand it. So that's all I got for today. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. If I'm off base, by all means, let me know. You're not going to hurt my feelings. I want a dialogue. I'll answer your comments. If I'm on point, or if there's additional things that you want to point out, by all means, do it. Outside of that, I hope you guys have a good Labor Day weekend, and take care.